They say it takes a village to raise a child. I'm Lynn Freeman, and here we draw on my conversations with experts on 9 to Noon to help you navigate family life. Putting a stop to cyberbullying in schools by banning social media at home. An intermediate in Auckland is asking parents to keep their kids off Facebook after school hours to stop inappropriate digital behaviour. Students are forbidden to go on social media while at school, and filters have been put in place to stop anyone trying to circumvent the rules. Wade Galuli is chairman of Kowhai Intermediate School's Board of Trustees. He joins me from our Auckland studio. Hi, Wade.
Morena.
Well, what led your school's board to thinking along these lines? First of all, addressing social media access in school and now in homes.
Well, it's just become such a pervasive part of our lives, both at school, at home, in our workplace. And we actually found at school that the children, well over 60% of the children, we surveyed the children in fact, were on social media at a crucial adolescent age, at intermediate, and those that age is between 11 and 13, and what we all know is that there are legal age limits in place with respect to social media. So we found that children weren't really complying with those age limits, and it was becoming more and more pervasive in the school environment and also at home.
How do you define inappropriate digital behaviour?
It's a tricky one, isn't it? I think, you opened with the notion of cyberbullying. I think that's real. I think it needs to be recognised that young adolescents don't really think about the consequences of their action at this stage and age of their lives. And, there's a lot of research that says that, your brain isn't fully developed until your mid to late 20s, and you're living in the moment, you're living now, and you don't actually understand the real consequence of social pressure and some of the things that get posted online.
Well, what examples can you give us of online bullying that you've been made aware of?
Well, no, I just think back to the notion of sexting, the Roastbusters case in New Zealand. That was a massive issue, and I think. With respect to our school, we didn't see bullying as pervasive as such. We could just see that there were one or two incidents that were being brought into the school environment where the school had to step in and negotiate with the parents, the students concerned around their behaviour, which was clearly unacceptable. And, what that meant for us was it meant tying up teachers' valuable time. It meant that we ended up being the policemen at school, or the teachers rather, and it meant that the parents were deferring to the school.
When you started to look at what the school could do within school hours and made that decision on social media access, what response did you get from the students and parents?
So we put in place we've had this program in place for 3 years now where we have an off at the gate policy. And so that's been in place. What we decided to do and enforce this year was a code, if you like, a contract that was signed by parents and their sons and daughters. That was a voluntary code that says we will stay off social media at home to support the school initiative at school. And so to answer your question, we've got an 86% positive response rate. So 86% of the parent community have signed these contracts with their children.
What arguments, or did you hear arguments from the remaining, 14%, maths was never my strong suit at school, of parents who haven't signed up?
Yeah, so I think the positive side of the people that declined to sign the contract was that the parents rather, were going to put their own controls in place at home, and that was quite pleasing to hear. So they said, no, I'm not going to sign up to this policy, but in asterisks, I'm going to put my own controls in place at home, and I think that's good enough. I think that's really positive.
Intermediate age children can put forward a cogent and persuasive argument. Have you heard at all from the children themselves with arguments against what's happened?
Well, I've got my own children, of course, that have attended the school and are attending the school, so they've been very vocal. But look, they actually, the conversations we have at home around social media, firstly, it stimulated the conversation around the dinner table, which has been really positive. And we've talked about broader issues around not just the social media use at home, but screen time. So how much screen time should we really be giving the children at home beyond just the social media on the phone? It's computers, it's everything else. And there was a recent report in the UK on the front page of the Times where the Children's Commissioner came out and said, well, these young adolescent children are spending over 20 hours a week on screens, and we don't know what the long-term impacts of that is or is going to be.
Well, you mentioned the UK, and you've drawn our attention to a story just out in the last few weeks in the Times saying that ministers are looking at drawing up cut-off laws to reduce usage. So teenagers face being cut off from social media sites after a few hours browsing, and these are under proposals being drawn up at the moment. What do you feel about that? I mean, you can control or try to control within your school and the parents of children at the school, but what about this broader picture? Would you like to see something like this come in?
I don't know if I don't think we need government intervention to limit. I think that's sort of bordering on George Orwell, 1984. I think we are cognizant of the fact that our children have phones. They will be on social media from the ages of 14 onwards. We need to educate them at school about the use of social media, some of the pitfalls, and just educate them around that. While they're at intermediate, we're saying, let's stay off it. Okay, we want to stay off it because we want to have real conversations. We want real play. We want real activity. We don't want a virtual world. We want children to have those real conversations in the playground, and we want them to have those real conversations at home. Look, I'm against government intervention here, but I think schools and parents need to take a little bit more responsibility. My personal view is that we're reaching peak social media. I think we're coming around full circle, and I'm predicting next year will be the year of the pencil. We're going to go back and rediscover how to draw and write stories, and I think that's going to be really tactile. And I don't see the need for any major government intervention here.
I wonder, though, by bringing in this kind of ban, if you like, that there is a risk that you're leaving these young people unprepared for dealing with full exposure to social media once they leave intermediate and get to high school, the big bad world. Somewhere along the line, there also has to be education or something along those lines, doesn't there? Some kind of understanding of what it's like. Otherwise, it's going to overwhelm them, isn't it?
Yeah. So we've been really careful over the last 3 years to put in place some good education in the classroom. Our ICT director at school, Tom McIntosh, is fantastic, and his approach to bringing guidelines and education into the classrooms around social media. So we're taking a proactive stance on that and teaching our kids what is acceptable and what is not acceptable use of social media. And so we think we are preparing them for when they get to high school and will be on social media. We're realistic. We know that they will be, and we want them to be prepared. So we are putting education in place to help support that.
What brands, if you like, of social media are you most concerned about? Certainly there seems to be a migration away from Facebook, even before the current Delete Facebook campaign, to others like Instagram that just have more of an appeal, I think, to young people.
Yeah, so my 14-year-old is on Instagram, and I have an Instagram account, and really just to keep up with her and share a few conversations and photos. But it's real. Instagram is the big one. Snapchat is another. I think for the youngies, the young adolescents, Facebook is less of an issue. It's more Instagram and Snapchat and a few of these other group sites where you can have group conversations, and those are the dangerous ones because they can set up anonymous accounts, and that's when the cyberbullying can creep in.
Do you ever have parents asking the school to sort out unpleasant social media incidents?
Yes, we have done in the past, and I guess that's going back to my point before. It's our job, as teachers and parents, as a trustee on the school, is to make sure that we've got the well-being of our kids at the forefront of our focus at school, and social media is creeping into that and has become a real risk, a pressure valve for issues to come to school. And I guess the other important point is, our teachers are there to teach and not be the counsellors supporting issues that could well be controlled at home with protocols and guidelines in place at home. So, look, these are the reasons why we've taken this stance. We've gone, proactive in this and said, parents, can you please bring your children together, have a conversation at the dinner table, and then, if you think it's right, sign this contract, and let's go social media free for the next 2 years at intermediate. And during that time, we'll work with you to educate your child about some of the pitfalls and some of the good things about social media as well.
See, the thing with young people is they're super smart. So if you've got filters, they can maybe work around filters. They're so digitally savvy these days. Are you finding that they're finding ways around the systems you've put in place?
All the time. All the time. And, look, to be fair, as a parent myself, I'm learning a lot through the eyes and actions of my children, and I'm embracing that. I don't have a Facebook account. But I do have an Instagram account, and just sharing some holiday photos on Instagram, with my daughter, or is that's pleasing. It's a good thing to do. But they are very, very savvy, and I shudder to think, where that's going to go in terms of the new digital world. I am concerned about the whole privacy issues that have certainly come up, and you've just talked about that with Facebook. It's a real concern. So, in my view, less is more.
Thank you so much for your time. Wade Galuli, Chairman of Kowhai Intermediate Schools Board of Trustees.